Hey everyone, Tony D with the Piney Podcast and your most recent update. New cases about 1,100-ish, something like that. We're down around 1,000. And Phil Murphy, I think, is starting to feel the heat. So do not let up with your calls, your emails, your protest to get Phil to open the state. Once again, the Belmar Gym Atlas continues to open. They continue to get citations. I hope they don't pay them, and I hope they don't have to pay them. I do not recommend anything other than peaceful protest and peaceful things to do against this. Just to be clear, I don't want anybody to do anything crazy, but I think it is important to send a strong message to the state government that this has gone too far. Now, just for the record, you know, in the beginning of this, there were a lot of unknowns. I certainly was worried. I put on a mask very early on, told people to do so. I still think a mask is a prudent precaution, especially if you're in a risk group. I'm in my mid-50s. I'm not in a big risk group, but it's a slightly bigger risk. I'm in generally good health, I think. I don't think I have an underlying health condition that's going to take me out and put me in the hospital, even if I get this. Assuming I didn't already have it and it's gone. I don't know. But, the precautions are more for the people who are at risk. And what Phil should be doing, and I've said time and time again, is targeting old folks' homes, hospitals, people at risk to make sure they are safe. Because that's a hell of a lot cheaper than trying to micromanage every single business and every single person of the state. So, today he announced car dealerships and motorcycle dealerships can have in-person, sales. Whoop-de-doo. What about ATVs? What about, there's so many businesses. I mean, we have almost 9 million people in the state, and there's so many businesses. Is Phil actually going to go through the list one at a time and rattle off every single business? Because I'll guarantee you a bunch will slip through the cracks. I mean, what about a guy who runs a magic card store? Is that even on the list? Does Phil even know what it is? I mean, come on. He should just open the stores. I mean, people in these businesses are going to take some precautions. And if they don't, that's your risk. Your body, your choice. Remember that? So we have to allow people to take risk. And at this point, everybody understands what's at stake here. Everybody understands you don't go out and immediately go home and kiss your grandmother on the cheek because she's in her 80s and she's at risk. So you have to be very careful around elderly people. I'm being very careful around my parents. I used to go to dinner probably 3 or 4 nights out of the week at their house prior to this event. Now I don't go. I don't even go into their house because I don't want to take the chance that I've caught it and I'm carrying the germs and that I might give it to them. They're in a risk category. They're in their 70s. So that's a sensible precaution. They haven't left, although they go out way more than me. So I know they're just itching to go somewhere. But, they shouldn't go to restaurants or casinos right now. They got to give it some time. Maybe wait until next year. But and really, is it worth it for me to go? Like I said, I miss birthday sushi. I'm gonna take that risk. But beyond that, unless I have a date, I'm probably not gonna kill myself trying to get to restaurants and bars. I'm not a big bar guy. I love restaurants, but I can hold out. I could wait. And quite frankly, I have done some takeout. If you're going to do takeout, you might as well go to a restaurant. When I was first pushing the face mask, none of the restaurants were doing much of anything other than their normal procedures, which are pretty clean to begin with, let's be honest. But now they have to wear a face mask. They have to wear gloves. They have to be extra careful. Anybody in their restaurant gets sick, the owner's going to have a freak out if the cook gets sick. He's going to have to be sent home, and they're going to have to go, okay, you got to throw out everything and clean this place top to bottom and maybe even close down for a couple of weeks. That's the risk. So And keep in mind that herd immunity actually means something in this crisis that we're facing. Once, New Jersey and New York are actually going to be better off than the rest of the country in the long run, because most of the people in this region now have some immunity. Well, I shouldn't say most. I should say a great deal of people. The numbers are really hard to come by. And I was trying to explain to somebody online, and I'm like, look, you have to understand. New Jersey has almost 9 million people, and our test, even at this late date, we're only at about 500,000 people. That's like 5% of the population. We've only tested 5% of the population. You could test the other 95% and find out they all had it. Then what? That drives your death rate off a cliff. You could also test them and find that almost none of them had it, which means you got a problem, which seems to be doubtful in this time. All the evidence is pointing to a lot of people had this. They're now winding this back to at least January in New Jersey for the first case. So early January, maybe somebody got this. I forget if it was January or December, but I had a day where I was really sick for like one day. I got super sick. I crashed out early. I got a lot of sleep. I woke up the next day. I felt okay. I continued on with my life. No worries. Did I have the virus? I don't know. I might have. I might have gotten a mild asymptomatic variant that just made me feel tired and run down. Went to bed. My body's natural immune system fought back. Boom, I'm okay. Maybe that was just a cold. Maybe I was just feeling run down. It's very difficult to tell. Medical science is not totally an exact science, even today. So, we have to, you're going to look back on these numbers, Phil. When they look back on these numbers, and they're going to have some pretty good numbers a year from now. Think on that when you're running for re-election. A year from now, when they have the real numbers, and they start rating this, well, it's a little more dangerous than the flu. You would have trashed New Jersey's economy for something that's a little more deadly than the flu. Yeah, that's not going to be good. On top of the fact that you're going to have contact tracers running around, grabbing up people's personal information. I don't like that at all. I don't think that's a good program, and I think you're going to be wasting a ton of money. On top of the fact you're going to have a huge shortfall in your budget, which sounds like you're already making noise that you're going to raise everybody's taxes. Good job. Good job. You ruined everybody's summer, and then you raised their taxes. Why don't you just go door to door and punch everybody in the balls while you're at it? You're not going to be reelected, Phil, and at this rate, you really got to reconsider. So I don't know if it does much good to talk at Phil. I think people are starting to wake up, and they're starting to say, hey, this is too much. The first part of this was flatten the curve, and then we're good. Okay, that's done. Oh, now it's like, well, now we need a vaccine. Now we need a cure. No, don't keep moving the goalpost. People are going to the beach. They're going. I don't know how you're going to stop them. So the only thing you've succeeded in doing is make the beach more crowded by closing everything else that's near the beach. So open it up. Open up the carnival games. Open up the rides. They can wipe down the rides, Phil. They can wipe down a roller coaster. You just have a couple more employees. They wipe it down, and on you go to your bumper cars or whatever you need. Have people wear gloves. Have people wipe down their own stupid ride if they want to go on the ride. Have people wash their hands and sanitize after they get off the ride. What more can you do? I mean, I don't get on rides, carnival rides, and lick them. So, I mean, if I got a mask on or I'm just being sensible, I'll get off the ride and I'll go wash my hands before I eat or touch my face or whatever. People can do that. Kids can be taught to do that. I mean, I think you can tell your kid to do something, and if it's that important, he'll probably do it. And if he doesn't, guess what? Kids are like some of the most immune people in this. With a handful of medical people who they're in big trouble. They should not go. Look, if you got an underlying medical condition, you do have to wait for a vaccine. If you're elderly, you do have to wait for a vaccine. Your summer is over. Those people. But the rest of these people have to keep the economy going, so there'll be another summer next year. So there'll be a Jersey Shore to go to that won't be a boarded up, sad, depressing thing that gets bought up by corporations like, that were allowed to operate during all of this. So don't ruin the boardwalk, Phil. Don't ruin the Jersey Shore. Don't ruin summer. Don't ruin the state. Open things up and we'll be fine. Yes, I get it. Maybe you'll see an increase in numbers. I don't know, because Phil is trying to increase testing and has been all along, and the numbers are still going down. So what does that tell you? If we have tens and tens of thousands of people who have, for whatever reason, escaped testing because they already got sick, if there's 50 times the amount of people who are already infected, and evidence suggests that that's the case, you're not even close to the amount of testing you need done. On top of the fact that, what about the people who got tested 2 months ago? They could have tested negatively, and now they could be sick. What about the people who did test positive and now are cured? They could get sick again. That's happened. So we don't know much about this virus yet. And Phil, to stand up and say, well, we're going to just do it based on science, that's political posturing. That is taking the same tack that a lot of people in the Democratic Party are taking because they think they know science better. They don't know it any better than Trump, okay? And look, Trump's a billionaire. The guy's taking hydrochlorophyll or whatever it is, hydrochloroquine, the malaria drug in the Z-Pack. He's taking it as a preventative. So you're going to sit there and tell me a guy with $1 billion is going to take something that'll hurt him? No, he's got 1 million people around him to tell him what the deal is on that. He knows it works. He's taking it because you could argue, well, no, Trump's stubborn, nobody can stop him. That's somewhat true, but he's also got every expert on the planet and access to it. He's seen tons and tons of data. He's the president of the United States. All they do is fill his head with data every day. You're telling me he's hurting himself by taking that? No, he knows. He knows it works, and that's why he's taking it, okay? So I keep that knowledge in my back pocket. If I get sick, that's going to be the first thing I tell my doctor. Give me that stuff right now. Give it to me. Give it to me, or I'm going to find it and get it. I'm going to break it to a store to get it because I don't want to die. So you're going to give it to me if I get sick because I want it. Because I want the same thing a billionaire's taking. Yeah, no kidding. So, this idea that you're going to get on the other side of science, you're going to get out your lab coat, Phil, and do the science yourself. No, it's not going to happen. You're supposed to be working with Trump, and you did to some extent. You're sort of like the third or fourth musketeer in this sad drama of keeping your state locked up after Michigan, New York, and California. But Phil, you can't keep this up. You're going to have more and more protests on your hand. You got the gym. There's already a hair salon. They're also protesting. I forget where they are. A couple other businesses. And I guarantee you, the illegal stuff is already happening. I guarantee you the mafia was all over this. They have some illegal bars already, I'm sure, at some places. Oh, they're rocking a business right now. They love this. They love that you shut things down because they're running illegal bars with cigarettes and gambling and whatever you want. It's a good time had by all, and they could give an F about the virus. And they're just making money hand over fist, Phil, because you have recreated prohibition. Open the damn bars, please. Look, I don't even drink. I know people need their booze. Okay, they need it. They need it to forget what crappy lives they have. Please just open the bars. They can sit outside. They'll open all the windows. People will wear masks, whatever they need. They'll try. Look, you can't keep booze away from these people. You can't. You can't. I promise you, they're still drinking. They didn't stop drinking for a second. The only difference is they're doing it someplace you don't know about. And that's all going to come out too. And the cops, they're human beings too. They want to drink. They want to eat. They want to go have normal lives. they're getting sick of it too. And that's exactly why the cops who showed up to the gym didn't arrest anybody. They just told them, well, you're objecting to King Phil's royal decree, so we're going to be on their way. And good for them. Good for them for not overreacting and doing what police officers should do, which is obey the law. What Phil's doing is illegal. It's voluntary. He does not have the legal authority to shut down anyone's business. And by overreaching his authority, he makes people not listen to him at all. You got to work with people, Phil, and you got to work with people faster. I know you're a government employee who's supposed to serve us, by the way, and you're used to doing everything slowly and taking weeks and doing studies. People are losing their businesses, and they're going to lose their jobs, and then they're going to be homeless, and then we're going to lose houses, then we're going to lose tax revenue. Everybody's going to lose. Everybody loses the longer you keep shutting this down. You have not enough data to even prove you're saving anybody. Not one iota. Sweden didn't shut down at all. They're not the worst, and they're not the best. What's that tell you? What's that tell you? Japan, South Korea, yes, they did very good. But they also come from Asian societies that normally wear masks during flu season. So their flu seasons are often very different as well. So it wasn't any big deal once they announced, hey, China really let something loose, that the rest of everybody was putting on masks, right? So imagine, if you would, next year during flu season, will there be a problem if China releases another, bat virus or whatever the hell happens? No. People are going to mask up. They'll have all their masks ready. And a few people who said, oh man, I was so glad to be rid of my mask. Now I got to put it back on. They'll reluctantly put it back on because the mask will be there. The action is already there, and that won't be a problem. That's what happened in Japan and South Korea. It wasn't a big deal for them. They had already been through it. Yes, it took a while for people to get on board with this. They didn't want to believe it. I experienced it firsthand. People made fun of me. But now they get it. But you're going too far. You're going too far. And if you keep going too far, people are going to say, F it. I'd rather be dead than live in this world where I can't go to restaurants and bars and beaches and hang out with my friends. You can't micromanage human beings, Phil. Learn the lesson or be gone. Be gone along with you and the Democratic Party. You cannot legislate people's lives. When will you learn? When will you learn economics and understand that businesses take a long time? My friend works at the docks, and he worked all through this shutdown. He just filed for unemployment maybe a few days ago. All that time, ships are coming in, delivering cars. They finally stopped because the factory stoppage finally caught up to the shipping lanes. Okay? Now, that 2.5 month lag is hanging out there. The factories are shut down. They're going to have to start up again. God knows how long that's going to take. Then they'll have to get them on the ships. Then the ships are going to have to start coming back again. That could take 3-4 months. Easy. Meanwhile, you got dealerships all along South Jersey and New Jersey, North Jersey. They're going to start running out of cars. And then what? Then what? These guys need a constant influx of product in order to sell. And that's just one business. This is all businesses are going to be impacted like this from that 2 months or 2.5 or whatever it was. You can't wait any longer. You're going to stretch this out, and we're going to be, coming up on Christmas, and the stores will be empty. Then what? Half the retail stores will go out of business, and the other half will have no product. Then what are you going to do? What is it? How's that bode for Christmas numbers? How's that bode for your tax base with all your expensive programs, with your magical tracing that you can't afford? When you haven't even paid for all the stuff you did during the shutdown. Don't do the tracing. Don't do any more shutdown. Open the state back up and fix old folks' homes. Old folks' homes, hospitals, people with underlying medical conditions. Those are the people you need to concentrate on, Phil.